verses 4 and 5. Here we see that the sinner and the wicked, they will be judged. The wicked are not so, a clear contrast. They're like chaff that the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. Now notice the strong contrast here. The blessed person, the righteous person, they're like a tree. Strong and firm and powerful. Not easily knocked down. Fruitful and beautiful. But the wicked, they're like chaff. See, the chaff is that useless or worthless part of the wheat and the grain. It protects the grain, but whenever they're threshing the grain out, they throw up the branches, and the chaff gets blown away in the wind. It has no foundation. And then it just becomes part of the dirt and the dust, and it's done. It's dead. It did not ever accomplish anything. The wicked are not stable. They are not strong. They're worthless material thrown into the wind that becomes dust on the ground. It's a very harsh view, a very harsh image of the judgment. Sinners will not be allowed to be numbered among the congregation of the saints. They have thrown off God's law. They have refused God's righteous rule. They have turned away from God, and God being a just and holy God, He will judge them. Because God is holy, because God is good, because God is just, He will judge them. See, this sets up the Psalter because every cry to God, "O Lord, how long will you let your enemy, you let my enemies prevail over me?" This psalm takes the psalmist and the lamenter back to the fact that God will judge and destroy every evil and wicked person. Judgment is clear. Now, it's interesting because verses 4 and 5, you contrast the tree to the chaff, but then you also have a strong contrast in the sense that verses 1 and 2, they describe what the person is not and what the person is, whereas verse 4 and 5, they just tell you what the ending of the wicked and the unrighteous will be. They just declare for you what the wicked will end up as. They will be judged. What I want to ask is, what makes someone wicked? What makes someone unrighteous? And it's simply this. It's refusing to recognize God as the Creator, and it's refusing to resign to His righteous rule. It's refusing to recognize God as the Creator and refusing to submit to His authority. It's rebelling against the law that's good. Now let me illustrate this with a clear example. We're going to still get into philosophy here. Friedrich Nietzsche. Actually a pretty good philosopher because he is trying to figure out how he can make people happy. I appreciate him because he is so bluntly honest. Now, I don't care for his philosophy, but I appreciate the fact that he's honest in what he believes and he's honest in what his intentions are. Last week we talked about Kant. The problem with most Western philosophers is they borrow capital from Christianity. Most of them, while denying what the most basic dogmas of Christianity, the most basic beliefs of Christianity, they borrow ethics and morality from Christianity. Not Nietzsche. He cuts right to it. One of the most famous declarations of Nietzsche is that God is dead. Nietzsche says God is dead. He doesn't need Kant's postulated God for morality. He wants a whole new morality, so let's just get rid of God. No, he's not making an ontological as if God were once alive and now He's dead. He's making a virtuous claim. He's making a practical claim that God is dead. What he's saying is we no longer need the concept of God. Science has taught us what real cause and effect is in the scientific world. We no longer need God to help us understand the way this world works. We no longer need God to teach us how to live. We need to get rid of the idea that God is our creator, our ruler, and will be our judge. See, he's an aggressive atheist. which is really the only good kind of atheist to be. If you're an atheist, you should believe that we're leading people astray. You should try to correct Christians. You see, he believed that the more we think about God as a judge, the less we're going to truly enjoy life. The second main part of Nietzsche's philosophy is what he called the overman, a superhuman. We will begin to enjoy life once we throw off God. We will enjoy life once we get rid of the idea that God is going to judge us and that God has instructed us how to live. Each one should find his own way. So the most basic concepts here that Nietzsche teaches, and with blunt honesty, is this. Throw off the idea that you will be judged. Throw off the idea that God has instructed you. That speaks to our sinful hearts. If we're as honest as Nietzsche is, we're going to realize that that's what our hearts say. We are all sinners. All of us have gone our own way. We have done what is right in our eyes. See, his honesty should scare us because he's just bold enough to say what our hearts tell us in their sinfulness. That's us. Every one of us has decided we can think of things better than God can. We can think of how we can be happy better than God. Everyone after Adam has thrown God off. Everyone after Adam has said, God, your rule, your righteousness, your law, it's not good. I'm going to delight in the things of the world. Us, in our sin natures, in this fallen world, that's what our inclination is. The tragic irony is that what Nietzsche prescribed to be the cure for humanity was really just articulating more what the disease is. He's saying if you want to be a true man, if you want to be a man who truly enjoys this life, keep throwing off God's law, but that's what's going to make us more and more miserable. Another great philosopher, one that we follow, St. Augustine, said this: indeed, man wishes to be happy even when he so lives as to make happiness impossible. Indeed, man wishes to be happy even when he so lives as to make happiness impossible. We all long to be happy. We all long to be blessed. We all long to be fulfilled. And the sad, tragic truth is that without God's law, what we're trying to do to make ourselves happy only makes us more miserable. It only makes that happiness all the more impossible. God created us for a specific purpose in a specific way, to enjoy Him and glorify Him forever. He alone can satisfy. He alone can make us happy. His Word alone can delight us in the way we were meant to be. But we search for that happiness in all other areas of life.